First time I fought Conor, I got hit with a good shot. But this is a different fight. I know I'm one of the best in the world. I know who I am, and I know I can scrap.
Dustin Poirier is a much improved fighter since the first time they fought. Oh! What we've seen is the culmination of all of his hard work.
Poirier pouring it on. That'll do it.
Unbelievable resolve. Unbelievable toughness.
Oh, those landed hard. I don't know how these guys are still on their feet.
He has fought for everything he's ever got.
Dustin Poirier!
It was an inevitable bout for us to meet again. The fans can expect something they've never seen before. There's no one that does it like me.
I'm always looking to make history every single day.
He slapped him!
I set my legacy in stone.
Oh, man. It is all over!
I've achieved everything I ever set out to achieve. I'm very proud of my achievements, but I have surpassed that level again. I just feel I'm untouchable.
Oh! Early head kick from McGregor! Conor McGregor!
I like Dustin. I think he's a good fighter. He's even a great fighter, you know, but great is still levels below me.
Have you or people you know owned a Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda or Seat diesel?
Going back to that first fight, that was a learning experience I had to go through. It made me into the guy, to the fighter, to the father, to the person I am now. I had a taste of the interim title. It felt great, and I want more. This fight makes sense now is because I believe I'm the #1 contender. Conor wants to come back. He's talking about being the lightweight champion again. So when those lights turn on and Bruce introduces us, I'm going to stop Conor.
What do you want to do this time? I'll knock Dustin out inside 60 seconds. I'm going to beat the time that I beat him in before, and I'm going to beat the shot I beat him in also. It's a wrap.
The king is back! Power!
Welcome to today's UFC 257 press conference. This Saturday on pay-per-view. Available for purchase through ESPN+. And the action begins in the co-main event. Introducing first, a multi-time champion ready to make a statement in his UFC debut. Here is Iron Michael Chandler. And his opponent, New Zealand's finest, coming off a 2020 in which he put on 2 of the best fights of the year. Introducing the always entertaining Dan the Hangman Hooker. And all roads lead to the main event. It's the much anticipated return of the double-weight world champion. A man who's changed the fight game forever. The owner of the fastest knockout in UFC title fight history. Here is the Irish megastar, the notorious Conor McGregor. And he faces one of the best fighters in the world today. The pride of Lafayette, Louisiana, winner of 4 of his last 5 fights. The former interim lightweight champion. Please welcome Dustin the Diamond Poirier.
What's up, Abu Dhabi? How are you guys? Thanks for coming out today. We appreciate it. Who's got the first question? Connor, I'd like to start with you. Welcome back, of course. First things first, I mean, this entire pandemic, I think we've wondered, what would a Conor McGregor fight be like with no crowd, and now it's limited crowd? So now that you're kind of in the building, you're getting a sense for what the atmosphere is like, and when we think about you, the bright lights are on, the big crowds, that's when you perform. How does that affect your energy, your focus on fight night?
I tell you what, it feels pretty good right now, you know, the crowd here. I know it's a small crowd, but it feels good, so I'm very happy to be here.
Fair enough. And of course, as you said, this is a big fight, you know, pay-per-view headliner, but it's interesting. I mean, you have a victory over Dustin. There may be a title fight on the line, maybe there's not, we don't really know. So what provided kind of your daily motivation? I mean, you know, that extra practice, that extra grind that you might not want to go to, what was providing that for you?
This one's the perfect gift for the friend who's been getting a little too comfortable during quarantine, maybe your son, a father, or
My love for the game, my love for competition, my love for combat. You know, Dustin has put on an incredible run since our last fight. It's been a long time coming. Yes, I did get the win over him the first time. But, you know, he's rose right up and he's back up there at the top of the division. So I'm excited to go and compete with him again.
Fair enough. And you went out there and kind of made a pretty bold prediction. You said you think you can get it done in 60 seconds. You know, I know you have a lot of respect for him, but I wonder, I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on you, right? I mean, you win in the second round or you edge out a decision, maybe it was a letdown. So any regrets in making that prediction? Do you stand by it?
You know, well, I got him out of there in 90 seconds the first time. So, I mean, I'm not that far off. But, you know, that's a complete confidence in my preparation and in my abilities. I know Dustin's a hell of a competitor. I know there's questions here. He's heavier. He's up on a different weight. But he's more experienced. I feel I can do it. However, you know, there are question marks regarding conditioning and things like that. I know his team has been spouting about the conditioning and that. I have put in a lot of work to get myself correctly to the 155-pound frame. I got 40 seconds inside the octagon in 2020, which caused major frustration in my, you know, it's not enough. I need more. So I'm going to go in there, and I believe I can get him out there and possibly will hit him early and hurt him. But, you know, I hope for a good long bout.
And last thing for me, Connor, I mean, it's kind of, I think probably no coincidence in the timing, but you were named in a lawsuit this week. I just wonder if you have any comments on that and if that's affecting your focus. I mean, I think that's a lot on your shoulders ahead of a big fight like this.
You know, it's old news. It was investigated thoroughly over the course of 2 long years, and I was cleared of any wrongdoing. And that's it. You know, I have so much positivity in my life. I've got a great challenge ahead of me on Saturday night, and I'm very excited to get in. I put in an immense amount of work to get my frame correct at 155, to get my conditioning. You know, I want to answer questions here, and I hope Dustin can bring it to me, and we can have a good fight.
Thank you, Connor. For Dustin, I wanted to ask you. I mean, you fought this year in the Apex, put on a Fight of the Year type candidate, right? Does that provide any benefit? I mean, this atmosphere is unique. It's different, right? I mean, does that give you any kind of an edge once you go in there, or is an octagon an octagon?
An octagon's an octagon. It's actually good to see us moving in this direction and fans coming back. That's the direction we need to be, opening things up as safe as we can. And the UFC and Abu Dhabi here are doing that. So I'm excited to put on a show for these guys.
Yeah. And Dustin, I know that you've committed your life to this game, right? Sacrificed everything. You never had a $100 million boxing match. You know what I mean? You don't have a whiskey brand that's distributed around the world. I know you like the saying, 25 minutes to make life fair. Does that apply here? I mean, do you feel like there's a chip on your shoulder? I mean, you guys have had this kind of parallel life, but it's gone different. Do you walk in there with a little chip on your shoulder?
Every fight is a chip on my shoulder. I'm trying to prove something. I'm trying to, the work that I put in, I'm trying to make it pay off. I'm trying to put my family in a better position, and this is no different. I know what a win over Conor McGregor means in combat sports, and I know that whoever wins this fight is fighting for gold, and that's why I fight.
Fair enough. Thank you, Dustin. And just one last one for Dana, please. Dana, obviously this is a massive pay-per-view.
Sir, you've got the hot sauce, Dustin. I'm actually I'd love to taste the hot sauce.
I got a bottle for you.
I appreciate that. I've got a bottle of proper for you. I'd love to share that. So, you know what I mean? He's putting in the work. I've been highly impressed. I think the whole business has been highly impressed. After that loss many, many years ago, he rose up, became champion. He's given so much back. I'm honored to share this octagon with this man. I know we have this competitive fire, and it's still there. There's still that in us, you know. There's no denying that. We have a clash, and it's going to be a good firework-filled bout. But the respect is admirable for this man from me.
I don't want to make it seem like we're up here giving each other back massages, but Conor's, I just want to clear the air. Conor's team, McGregor Sports Entertainment, did reach out to my foundation, and they are, starting the donation to the Good Fight Foundation, and we have huge plans for that. So Conor, man to man.
My pleasure, brother. My pleasure. Thank you.
You're going to help a lot of people with that.
Yes, and you.
Maybe you could help him with the distribution deal for the hot sauce.
Of course, no problem. I got to taste it first, though. You know, I don't put my name to something unless it's the proper, you know what I mean? Unless it's the finest.
I got you. You'll taste it Sunday morning, then I'll give you a bottle after, yeah?
It's perfect.
Fair enough. Dane, I just want to ask you, like I said, I mean, this is a huge pay-per-view event to kick off the year. You kind of stirred the pot a little bit with the piracy, the online streamers. They want to come after you and give this thing away. So, any regret in kind of maybe stirring the pot a little bit?
I'm glad you asked me about that because we got one. We got him. We're watching this guy right now. All you have to do is turn it on Saturday, and we got you, fucker. I can't wait. Turn it on Saturday, streamers, and see what happens. Thank you for asking me that question. Pipe down. Who's next?
Question for Michael over here. Welcome to the UFC. This is your first real big press conference in your new home. I don't think anyone for years thought you would be here. So what are your first impressions of the UFC fans now at this press conference?
This is great, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's awesome to be kind of a historic night. 10 months of not having any fans during a worldwide pandemic. It's nice to share this opportunity with the fans, man. It's been a long time coming, and there was moments where I wasn't sure if I would ever make that jump to come over. The circumstances needed to be right. It needed to feel right. A couple months ago, having that conversation with Dana, it felt this is where my new home needed to be, and everything has been wonderful thus far, and I'm excited to go out there, start this new chapter. Got a blank page on Saturday night to start this new chapter of my career, and I'm excited to get out there and compete.
And I know you're not looking past Dan, but you had said in the media day you were looking forward to at least sizing up Conor, being around him, seeing what he's about. So have you seen him in the hotel? And if you haven't, what do you think now?
No, I have not. No, this is just the first time I saw him, man. He's looking dapper as always. Conor McGregor, typical Conor fashion. But I've been outside the UFC, and I told Dana this in our conversation. Every single time that I trained for one of the guys that I stepped inside of the cage with, I wasn't training to fight them. I was training to fight the number one guy in the world. The number one guy in the world has always been under the UFC banner. I was always training to fight to beat that guy. So sizing everybody up. You know, last time I was here on Fight Island, saw Khabib, saw Gaethje. Man, these are the upper echelon, the world-class guys that I've wanted to compete against since day one. And now I get that opportunity. Just got to go out there and take care of business on Saturday night.
And question for Dan. A lot's made with Michael's wrestling credentials. You, of course, have a very extensive striking background. So what do you make of Michael Chandler's striking inside the octagon?
He's aggressive. The guy comes out, he's a fast starter. So I'm expecting by the end of that first 5 minutes, we're going to know how this thing's going to play out. I'm expecting him to come at me. I'm expecting a fast start, but I'm not one to back down to a challenge.
And then question for Conor. Max Holloway declared himself the best boxer in MMA. You kind of laughed at that on Twitter. So I'm wondering, how would you rate the three gentlemen up here's boxing compared to yours?
I tell you what.
This one's the perfect gift for the friend who's been getting a little too comfortable during quarantine, maybe your son.
Well, the last press conference I done with Cerrone, it was just myself and Donald up here. You know, this time we've got 3 other men, 4 of us, and we're all in the same division. So, you know, they're opponents, potential future opponents, and I'm very excited about that. That's kind of what halted me in 2020 before the pandemic even hit. It was like nothing really presented itself. Well, here we've got 3 up here. You know, we've got Max skateboarding in the hallway back at the hotel. So I'm very happy with that, and you know, I'm very excited to see how the bout goes in the co-main event. I know the two men know the magnitude of where they are at, and I'm excited. You know, that's gonna breed an exciting, fight-filled fight. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a lot of power thrown. I would tell the 2 lads if there's any stalling or any situation like that, you know, to to be separating and let the shots fly, because there's a lot at stake here, and I wish both men the best of luck.
And a question for all four gentlemen up there. A unique situation, four dads fighting on Saturday in the main and co-main event. So are your kids aware of what's going down on Saturday? Are you going to let them watch? I know Connor has Connor Jr. and his kids here, but are you going to let your kids watch on Saturday night?
Sorry, say that again. Was that to me?
So all four. Are all four gentlemen's kids going to watch the fight on Saturday?
You know, my kids will watch. I'm at having them prevalent all fight week, you know, giving them the experience. They're a little young, though. I don't think I'll have them in the arena for the actual bout. But they'll be watching their daddy for sure. And I look forward to going back after the fight.
I know my son will be sleeping, but he knows Daddy does MMA. He knows what MMA is, and we'll go watch the masterpiece after the fight when I get home and get to spend time with him.
And my daughter knows what I do, obviously, but we don't really let her watch. She helps me take the stitches out when I get back. She knows what's going on.
Yeah, my daughter will be swinging along with me. She'll be there.
Who's got the next question?
Well, one more for you, Dana, right here. Habib did an interview yesterday saying he still doesn't want to make his mom upset by returning. Have you seen that interview, and have you spoken to him again since your initial conversation?
I told you guys, we'll see what happens this week.
We'll get him. We'll get him.
Hey, Connor. Out of the available lightweights to you right now, is Dustin the hardest challenge you could be facing?
I think so, yeah. You know, I'll always look to get the highest challenge. Dustin has a win over Hooker, who's on stage here. You know, he knocked out Justin. So there's some high contenders already. Justin in turn knocked out Tony, who was another contender. So I think I'm right at the top here. You know, I would make the case, if that man is continuing to dodge this and dodge the commitment of competing again, the title should be stripped and we should be engaging in a title fight, you know. So, but I'm sure it will happen after this bout. I'm interested to hear what the excuses or what will be said after the fight, but I predict a title strip.
Going off a prediction, you said it's going to take 60 seconds to beat Dustin. It might go longer, but do you have the shot in mind already that you want to finish him with, or is that something that presents itself in the fight?
I have a million shots. I have so many weapons in my arsenal, and you know, they're all fine-tuned at this time. I'm in a phenomenal place, and I look forward to getting out and showcasing, you know, painting my picture and putting on a beautiful performance for the fans around the world.
And for you, Michael, we know your story, that you've just come into the UFC, but now you're up there on a press conference stage. Has it set in yet that you're making a UFC debut?
Yeah, it has. I think the day that I signed on the dotted line, it started to sink in. Man, I've been competing at a high level since I was 14 years old, and all roads have led to this. There seem like there have been roadblocks at times, but daily I have thought about it, I've visualized it, I've seen it. I've been watching these guys compete for a long time, and I've wanted to share the octagon with them. So it's, you know, the last trip here to Fight Island, a lot of people thought it was kind of an interesting decision. I wanted to be the guy that said yes when a lot of guys said no. So I stepped up, I said yes, and I reaped a lot of reward from that. Now all the familiar faces that I'm going to be rubbing elbows with, coworkers, and my tenure here in the UFC, now they're all familiar faces, and it's all gone well thus far. Weight's on point, and here we are getting ready to step into, not just step into the octagon, but step into a co-main event slot on a huge pay-per-view, a historic night. As these guys have said, this is a big opportunity for all of us, and we're going to go out there and we're going to go put on a great show.
And for Dustin, there is an element of charity to this fight. You just mentioned that with the donation to your foundation. How important do you believe it is that a fighter at the top tier pays it back and pays it forward and uses their platform to help others who don't have one?
I believe it's important for a man as he matures to recognize the situation and position he's in, and that he put himself in. And to each his own. I'm not saying everybody should do it, but if you have it in your heart and you're in position to be a voice for people whose voice isn't heard, or to be a representative of something better, you know, it transcends fighting, and we're all fighting something. So it means a lot to me personally. I can't speak for anyone else.
And for Dan, do you believe your style is the worst matchup Chandler could be facing on his debut?
It's not a good style. I bet if he could have picked anyone else, it wouldn't have been me. Long, tall guy. You know, my game's built around defending wrestlers. The only reason I'm here is because everyone ahead of me turned the fight down. They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to risk their spot. You know, they come up with a bunch of excuses. Old Charlie Olives saying he can't make the weight. Like, Dana, you believe Charlie Olives can't make the weight? I got broomsticks thicker than that boy. I'm here. I'm taking the risk. That means that I reap the reward.
Nice. And last one for Dana. Do we have an update on numbers for this card? You've got the return of Conor McGregor. We've got some fans back. But pay-per-view wise, how is this thing trending?
Very good. Yeah, no, this thing's trending great. Yeah, it's good. It's going to be good. There hasn't been, when was there a bad one? Since the pandemic started, there hasn't been a bad pay-per-view. They've all been overperforming. So you can only imagine what this is going to do.
Hey, just a quick one from me as the unofficial lightweight tournament commissioner. I just wanted to get a verbal confirmation, you guys, because, listen, Charles Oliveira with the victory only over Tony Ferguson. He's pretty much through to the semi-finals now. We've got Justin Gaethje probably to come into the mix, but of course it's about you guys, the semi-final spots at stake. Even if one or two of you come out of this weekend and fight for the title, I think most media fans, we want to crown a new undisputed lightweight champion by the end of the year, and I just want to get a quick confirmation
Book it,
from each of you that
I'm
you're
in.
in.
Book it, I'm in.
Yes, sir. Michael, are you in?
Book it.
Dan? Dustin?
Let's go.
Dan?
I didn't even understand the question. Yeah, I'm in.
Thank you. Dana, you're welcome.
All right. Hey, Connor, you looked like you had something you were about to say there when Dana was talking about the pay-per-view numbers. So I just
Yeah, it goes without saying. You don't got to come up and talk about EA Sports, UFC selections and all this type of thing when it comes to me. You know, the pay-per-views are trending. The Embedded has been record-breaking again. It's almost double. The first episode of The Embedded is almost double than all of the other Embeddeds that have came out in 2020, bar one, McGregor Cerrone. So it's trending in the right direction. I'm very excited about it, you know. I'm very excited to give these guys a platform here, you know what I mean? And like I said, and I'm happy to hear Chandler say this and Hooker say this, you know, take your chances and reap the rewards here. So that's it. So there's going to be 2 cracker fights, and I'm ready. And as the guy from BT said about the tournament, book it, we're in. And that's amazing. Let's go.
One more for you, Connor. I know you kind of said at the beginning the narrative about your conditioning and everything going into this fight. Can you just expand on that? And why do you think there are those doubts about your cardio?
You know, I think it's a myth. Obviously, I had the Diaz one, the first Diaz fight. I went from featherweight, and then a month or so later, I was at welterweight. You know, that's obviously going to have impact. And then there was other issues. But, you know, I think overall it's a myth, and it's a myth that's, you know, it's out there, and that's it. I hope we can answer it, and I will answer it in time. At some stage, I keep showing up here. You know, someone's going to be able to stay in the pocket with me and stay in there and fight with me. And I hope it's this. I hope it's this Saturday night. Do I think so? I do not. I'm in some shape here at the minute, and I tell you this now. I am coming to put on a masterpiece. So I'm excited about it.
And just one for you, Dustin. I know you said prior to the fight with Dan there that you didn't really like that there was a certain expectation that you would win going in, and you kind of relish being the underdog more. Can you just speak a little bit more to that, and do you feel at your most comfortable going into a fight like this?
I'm not sure if I relish it, but of course I want to be cheered when I walk out, but I'm acquainted with it. I know the feelings, and I've been in this position time and time again. That's just it. I'm just acquainted with it.
Women know too much. I'm all for girls that don't know too much. It's a different class.
Pay attention.
Hey, question for Connor. How you doing? I've enjoyed listening to you talk about, you know, getting the frame right for 155, and it struck me that it's kind of crazy that you've only competed there twice. You've been in the UFC for, what, 7 years? You've only competed at 155 pounds twice. Is that your ideal weight class, do you think? Do you think that's where you operate at the highest level?
I've done pretty good in all the other ones as well. Yeah. You know, I've done good in them all. I've secured belts in multiple divisions, and I've secured knockout victories in multiple divisions. I do feel great at this weight, but you know, whatever I commit to, I feel great at. You know, when I do the welterweight bouts, I feel great. I feel strong and big. I still feel this now. You know what I mean? I feel fast also. So I'm excited to get in and showcase it. Like you said, I have not had that much fights at 155 pounds in the UFC division, or in the UFC. And I'm eager to put in a stint, to get a run going. You know, like I done with the featherweights. I think I went 7 or 8 fights within the space of a year and a half. You know, that's what I'm looking for here. If they can match me up, I know now we've got multiple opponents up on the dais already, so we're in a good spot, and I'm eager to get going and showcase. I feel this is the best I have ever been, for sure, and I'm at 155 pounds. But, you know, if I go back to 170 pounds, you best believe that'll be the best I'll be at also. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and you, one tweet that you meant, I don't know exactly when you put it up, but you said that after you won the 155-pound belt, you wonder maybe you should have jumped up and gone for that 170-pound belt right away. And I just wonder, obviously things have worked out well for you. The Mayweather fight made you a whole lot of money, but have there ever been, do you think about that sometimes? What would have happened had I not left the sport?
Sometimes I think, man, I should have just stayed in the featherweight division and fought Ricardo Lamas and all those type of guys, you know what I mean? And just been in the featherweight division. I always look to challenge myself and seek greater heights. And, you know, although I have been the champion at 155 pounds, I have not had much time at this weight in the UFC, and this is what I wish to do now.
Last thing for you, I wouldn't say that the security team was necessarily concerned about it, but they were very aware that you were going to be in the hotel this week at the same time as Khabib. And I was just wondering if that is still a warranted concern, or I mean, have you guys passed that part of your relationship that you could be in the lobby of a hotel and we wouldn't have to worry about anything happening between you guys?
You know, all of those events were 2018. It's now 2021. What I will say is, as long as we fight again, there'll be no issue, and that's it. You know, if he continues to run, well, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens.
And I got one for you, Michael. I mean, obviously you've been asked a lot about being in the new promotion and what it feels like to be in the UFC. I wonder what it feels like to be on the stage with these three gentlemen. And is this a different caliber of opposition that you've been in contact with throughout your career? I mean, is there truth to that, or do you feel like throughout your career you have been, you know, amongst guys who are of the same skill level as these guys?
Overall, this is the toughest competition that I will ever face in my entire life. But I think when you look at my resume, when you look at my track record, guys like Eddie Alvarez, guys like Benson Henderson, these are champions that were here in the UFC. Granted, it was a couple years later, but I've been competing at a high level since I was 14 years old, as I said. So I've been dreaming of this day, or visualizing this day, just in case it ever did come. And now I'm fully prepared to take the opportunity head on. And absolutely, all these guys are the best in the world. And the UFC lightweight division is the most hyped, most electrified, most energetic division in the UFC today. And it was a perfect time to insert my name into the mix.
Thanks, guys.
This question's for the Diamond, Dustin Poirier. You fought in this country before to unify the lightweight strap against Khabib Nurmagomedov. Is this stage greater for you than UFC 242?
It's obviously a huge fight, but fighting for the world title is the biggest fight you can get to me, because that's the reason I fight. I want to be the undisputed world champion. I'm still chasing that goal, and I know this fight here gets me one step closer to that. So.
This question's for the notorious Conor McGregor. What separates the fighter Conor McGregor from the business mogul Conor McGregor?
You know, I bring all of the discipline and the drive that I learned in my martial arts training and preparation and competition into the business world, and it's helped me tremendously. It's why I always would urge any parents around the world to get their children into martial arts, any type of combat sport. And it's not necessarily to compete. If they wish to compete, well, then they can compete. But the things that they learn through martial arts, you know, you cannot learn it anywhere else, and it will translate into many other things, especially the business world. So it's pretty much the same, two of the same.
And lastly, for Michael, you've sized up all of these lightweights now. The last one here is Conor McGregor. You've rubbed elbows with all of them. What do you make of this guy sitting next to you?
Hey, he is exactly who we think he is. He is exactly who he thinks he is. He's got a track record. He's a global superstar for a reason. But all of that doesn't matter when you step inside that octagon when the cage door closes. We all know that. He knows that. But as far as the man, as far as what he's accomplished, as far as, just as you alluded to, outside of the cage, what he's done eyeball-wise, attention-wise for this division, for this promotion, it's nothing short of amazing, and it's awesome to share this opportunity, share this stage with these guys, and it's, as you can see, I think there's a lot of growth up here. I think we've seen a lot of growth in Conor, one of the baddest men on the planet, now one of the most daddest men on the planet. I think all of us, as you alluded to, we're all dads. We all started coming up hungry, humble, and now we're dads and really fighting for a different purpose. So you kind of see that in him, you see that in Dustin, you see that in Hooker, and you see that in myself. So, man, either way, Saturday night, we're all going to go out there, put on a great show. Everybody buy that pay-per-view. Let's go.
Appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Conor, how you doing, mate? You've evolved so much in your fighting career, but I think you've always been an artist inside and outside the cage with your fighting style and your ability to sum up things in such a poetic manner. But can you just talk to me a little bit about how you define yourself as an artist?
I'm just an insanely driven young man, you know what I mean? I'm passionate about what I'm passionate about, and I give it my all. That's it. I'm a hard worker, true and true. If something needs to be done, Conor McGregor gets it done. Make no mistake about it.
That's awesome. Staying on the topic of art, I wanted to read you a quote from 2013 that you said. It's really poignant, and I think it deserves to be read out in full, so just bear with me. I've lost my mind on this game, like Vincent van Gogh, dedicated his life to his art, and he lost his mind in the process. That's happened to me, but fuck it. When that gold belt is around my waist, and my mother has a big mansion, my girlfriend has a car for every day of the week, and my kids' get everything they ever wanted, then it will pay. Then I'll be happy I lost my mind. Can you just reflect and talk to me about how that makes you feel hearing that in 2021?
You know, it's been some ride. I've got it done, and I'm up here, mad as a brush. You know what I mean? I've been through it all, my friend. You know, I appreciate that, and it's been a wild ride for me. It's not been easy at times, but you know, what a life. And I tell you what, I wouldn't want it to be any other way. I'm very excited to be back here. I'm very excited to have fans back in the area. I'm very excited with the competition, the multiple competition. Yeah. I just feel invigorated. You know what I mean? And as you said, about artistry and all, and Vinnie Van Gogh, I'm going to paint a beautiful picture here inside this octagon on Saturday night, and I'm very excited to do so.
Awesome. Thank you so much, mate.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, it's Ahmed Al-Wasiri from Abu Dhabi Sports. The amazing thing about this sport is we've seen the fighters grow in front of us. And like Conor McGregor and Dustin, they're different fighters since they started over here. We know the motivation behind Dustin's fight against Conor McGregor is to beat Conor McGregor and to become the champion within 1 year. But you, Conor McGregor, you fought Jose Aldo and you elevated the standard, and then you fought Eddie Alvarez and you became the double champ, and then you're just elevating standards each time. So beating Donald Cerrone last year, and now you're fighting with Dustin Poirier. What's your motive after this, after 7-8 years of competing in the UFC?
I feel like I'm only starting, man. Everyone kind of wants to, hey, Conor, you've done it all. You're so rich. You're richer than Dana over here. What are you doing here? I'm like, am I not allowed here? I want to be here. I want to perform for the fans. I'm a young man. I've got many highlights. You know, but all the money, all the belts, everything, that comes and that goes. You know what lives on? Highlights, a fighter's highlights. You look at Roy Jones Jr.'s highlights, Mike Tyson's highlights. I still look at them today, Ali's highlights. I want my highlight reel to be like a movie. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm after. I'm looking to get in and perform and put on amazing highlights that I can sit as an old man with my son and just watch back and just enjoy life. You know what I'll be drinking? A nice proper 12 by the fire. in the Emerald Isle of Ireland, and this is it, man. I'm just loving my life. Please don't be trying to get rid of me, guys. I love it here, man. I helped build this. I helped do this. I'm here, and I love it, and, man, I have plenty of motivation. You know what I mean? Dustin's a hell of a competitor. What does the champ do? He does it twice. Okay, I conquered it. Let's conquer it again. You know what I mean? Do it twice. That's what the champ does.
Connor, question down here. Talk to me about how your training camp went in Portugal. I know it was kind of secluded due to the lockdown. You've had secluded camps in the past. Do you think this is something that you want to continue with going forward?
Yeah, I tell you what, it's been a phenomenal camp all across the board. We were in Lagos in Portugal, we were in Dublin, we were in Dubai, and now we finish it up here. Yeah, it was an amazing camp. I have an amazing team of people around me all across the board, from the nutritionists, from my coaches in mixed martial arts, in jiu-jitsu, in boxing, in wrestling, and all my sparring partners. It's a phenomenal team I have, as well as my conditioning coaches. And I'm looking forward to going in and representing all my team's hard work. You know what I mean? We put a lot of hard work in here, and I'm going to go in and do my team proud.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Who else? Yep, go ahead.
Dustin, everybody's talking about how much you've changed as a fighter since the last time you fought Conor. What would you say is the main thing that changed in your game and that would make a difference this Saturday, whether mentally or physically?
I think technically as well. Mentally for sure, technically as well. I mean, 6 years since we fought. You have to evolve to stay at the top of the division for this long, to stay in the company for this long. And just maturity. And I don't care what anybody out here thinks anymore. I used to care too much. I don't care. That's a superpower, not giving a fuck. And that's it.
And Conor, this one is for you. I know you've been asked a lot about this whole Khabib thing, but I'm just curious to know, he said he's looking for something amazing, extraordinary this Saturday for him to change his mind and come back. What do you think he's looking for this Saturday for him to change his mind?
You know, I don't really care. He did not say that. Dana said that. He said he's not, you know what I mean? Let's just get through the fight. You know, all these men are up here. There's plenty of challenges. And, you know, it's a tough business. And the things have gone on in his personal life. I don't wish him any harm. Like I said, it was in 2018. A lot of time has passed. The world knows this fight is not over. You know what I mean? This war is not over. The sport needs it to happen. The people need it to happen. I'm not going to chase it if he doesn't want it. You know what I mean? And that's it. I'll keep my calm and move on. And that's what I'm doing. I'm back here at the 155-pound division. I'll show the world what's what over time. And that's it. And it begins on Saturday night against Dustin Poirier.
Finally, my last question. I heard Dustin say that he actually kind of enjoyed the fights during this past year without a crowd because he felt it was a bit more intimate and he was more focused. I would like to know, does having or not having a crowd affect you in any way when you're inside that octagon, or not really? You just forget everything.
Yeah, no, a fight is a fight for sure. You're inside that octagon. It's you know, I was actually very, very excited to compete with no crowd. You know, at the start I was like, oh, I don't know, you know, but over time then I was like, I really wanted to see and hear my power and my velocity and, you know, my precision. I wanted to hear my shots whistle through the air, you know, with no background noise, and really you know, put a statement out there of the difference. And I was almost, you know, I was close. I almost got to do it, but there's not that many fans, only a couple of thousand. My power, my speed, my precision, my velocity, you know, my whistle will still whistle strong on the night, and I'm excited to show.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. We're going to square these guys off for photo ops, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Have you or people you know owned a Volkswagen, Audi, Skoda or Seat diesel